And I'm telling you, we are way off. The entire political class is way off. First of all, digital is the new door knocking. You got to understand that. We were laughing our butts off at Donald Trump for suspending his door knocking campaign and letting Charlie Kirk and Elon do a bunch of stuff online. We said, these guys are idiots. These guys are stupid. Then you start knocking on these doors. You know what people come to the door with? Their phone in their hand. They're in a 24-hour digital surround sound that has nothing to do with CNN, has nothing to do with any stuff that we do. I asked my son, I got a teenage son, I asked him, who are the most influential people in the world today? I'm thinking to myself, he's going to say Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z. He says, Kai Cent, Aiden Ross, Jinxie, and Sketch. I don't know who he's talking about. I said, what platforms are you on? He goes, I'm on Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. I said, that sounds like you need to go to the hospital. What are these platforms? I'm telling you guys, the mainstream has become fringe, and the fringe has become mainstream. There are platforms, there are people out there that are getting 14 million streams, and we're on cable news getting 1 or 2 million. And so there is a whole world out there. Kellyanne Conway, I hate to agree with her, but I do a lot of times. Donald Trump understood that and we didn't. And it's not just Democrats that don't. The entire political class is way off, way off, way off.
Van Jones is talking about mainstream versus podcasting, and Donald Trump knew it, and I didn't even know it. I did not know. Remember, I had these takes where I said Tucker Carlson got 100 million views on Twitter. Not that I don't believe the views. I just don't think what happens is people scroll, they watch for 2 seconds. What's the real impact? Is 1 million views on Fox more than 100 million views on X? And based on the 2024 election, I think I was wrong. X has more influence than I thought. And look at who his son is watching. So YouTube, you might want to loosen up your... YouTube, are you listening? Did you hear what Van Jones said? Van Jones is talking about his son. What did he say?
Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, he says.
Oprah Winfrey, bruh, what are you talking about, bruh? Barack Obama, that's from us. That's from us old fogies in our 40s and 50s that looked up to Barack Obama and Oprah Winfrey.
Ask him, who are the most influential people in the world today?
Jay-Z, what the hell? They don't give a damn about a Beyonce or a Jay-Z. They barely care about Megan Thee Stallion.
Most influential people in the world today. I'm thinking to myself, he's going to say Barack Obama.
Barack Obama? Where is he?
Jay-Z, he said.
I think he's going to say Elon Musk.
Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, he says. Kai Cent.
Kai Cent is dope. I haven't watched a lot of his streams, just seen his clips, and he does creative stuff. These guys are streamers on a level that I could obviously never get to. They're just really professional streamers. Aiden Ross, I don't know what the real... He's just a kind of a cool guy. I don't know what the real kind of attraction is there. He's funny.
Aiden Ross, Jinxie, and Sketch.
I don't know who Jinxie and Sketch are, so I am old. I know who the other two are, but...
I don't know who he's talking about.
Van Jones is breaking it down for real. So what are they going to do? They've got to figure that out. How are they going to figure that out? How is the mainstream going to get into the podcasting world? You can't just get a Joe Rogan. It ain't going to happen because you have to have the content. You have to have the actual curiosity. You have to have people you disagree with and talk to them. That's not what the corporate Democrats are going to do. But you are seeing some people angling. John Fetterman, I think, is going to run for president in 2028. People think I'm crazy. He was on Truth Social talking about, I know it's late, it's after the fact, but he was on Truth Social talking about how the cases against Trump were phony, were fake, were frauds. And he's he's one of the biggest Zionists out there. The next Democrat candidate's going to be Zionist. So AOC is going to have some problems. She's going to have to go full Zio. Jared Polis has no problem. The three that I'm looking at angling for, Gavin Newsom has no chance, I don't think. He doesn't have what they need for 2028, even though that's a long ways away. John Fetterman. He's stupid, which means he's lovable. I don't even mean that as a diss right now. He's lovable in an ignorant, stupid way. He's like a walking meme who will create a cult following. Like, let's vote for this literal brain damaged buffoon and we'll rally around him. He's pro-Israel and he's going to warm up to Trump in a way that says independence, if you are anti-woke, except for my brain damaged ass, if you're anti-woke, I'm a vote for you. He's angling to be ahead of Josh Shapiro. They are reportedly kind of like enemies. Let's take a listen to another clip here. The legacy media, is it dead?
But they're fraying. Almost everything you said is fraying. The press.
Fraying,
before,
you're saying?
Fraying.
Yeah, totally. And has been
And as I said,
for
they're,
20 years.
well, the press for 20
Nothing's going to stop you from being the free press.
well, you really are a sunny person, aren't you?
Sonny,
Well, I'm very worried about the press, extremely worried about the press.
not only for the technological reasons we're all worried about, and not only for the financial tectonic plates moving, but for some other reason. What one?
Well, for example, I once asked Donald Trump, why do you keep pounding on the press? This was right after he won in 2016. You know, it's kind of boring. You say the same thing over and over, and you won. You know, it's time to drop it. Why do you do it? And he said, I do it and I repeat it because the more I do that, the less people are going to believe you when you say negative things about me and whatever else.
Totally.
And it's happened. If you watch the opinion of us, how many people trust the press anymore? I mean, we're way down there with the lawyers.
Yeah.
This is really rough, as you know.
You're way down there with Congress.
Exactly. I mean, we're way down there with Congress, but we're way down there. And I despair. Seriously, I worry greatly. And I think there are other institutions that have been suffering. And you're right not to blame Donald Trump 100%, obviously. Started many years before. But we're at a point where if the President of the United States is going to say legacy media is dead, well, I guess Musk said that. Legacy media is dead.
And he wants it dead. He wants other media.
But it is kind of, sort of hobbling right now. And I don't know how it recovers. I'm very dark about it.
You're very dark about it.
I am.
I just, well, this is, you know, we're talking about something so essential that you don't want to say, well, we'll see, you know, or maybe the world will end, we'll see.
Well,
But if America lost freedom of the press, it would be, and freedom of speech, it would be the beginning of losing everything.
right. I totally agree.
Oh, I'm sure you totally agree, except when it comes to a certain country. What are we looking at? They don't know how to tell the truth. They said, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? You're supposed to be highly skilled. So you should have an advantage over Joe Rogan because he's not a journalist. You should be highly skilled and bring something to the table. You don't have to be funny or interesting or even curious like Joe Rogan does in interviews. Bring your knowledge, objective facts, perspective, context. Bring value. Find a way to bring value to the marketplace. If you have all these years of experience, you can't find a way to bring value in the media marketplace? Get out of here.
These major figures, the governors, came forward and said, I'm going to take on Joe
But there
Biden.
was something else going on
Kellyanne Conway.
at the time. There were articles where Democrats were saying, please dump Kamala Harris from the ticket, change your vice president. That's a parlor game that's played every time there's an incumbent president who's eligible to run for a second term. But let's all be honest, and Van Jones and I talked about this at Milken Institute in early May. Let's be honest. Part of the reason that President Biden could not step aside is people didn't have confidence in the competence of Kamala Harris. And then all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that she has worked hard. She does speak
I'm
well.
laughing because Van Jones knows she's right and doesn't want to acknowledge that Kellyanne Conway is right.
The American people saw it differently. And I'm I'm relieved to hear that very few lessons, it sounds like, have been learned by my Democratic colleagues.
Oh, wait, I'll get my turn. Oh, wait.
I hear yours, but let me just say this. Maggie, I think that this election was also about moments that Donald Trump has this sense of the culture. He just gloms onto a cultural zeitgeist and leads it. So I think him, rather than banning TikTok like Joe Biden did and Kamala Harris did, by extension, he got on it. And Forbes magazine wrote an article maybe 2 weeks ago, tops, saying of the 10 top TikToks of 2024, 8 came from the Trump campaign, 5 in the last week alone. So he's in the garbage truck, he's at McDonald's. You're watching Joe Rogan live, but then other people are watching it through TikTok. He goes to East Palestine before any official in the Biden-Harris administration, before the Secretary of Transportation, before the sitting senior senator, now the ex-senator of Ohio, Sherrod Brown. And he's honoring the police officer who's slain in Massapequa, New York on Long Island, while Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden are all at Radio City Music Hall at a fundraiser. He beats Kamala Harris to Georgia and North Carolina, where people are in pain, where everything that they've had and loved ones have been washed away, literally, and Kamala Harris in San Francisco at a fundraiser. So people see this. They know what they see, they know what they hear, and I think the big distinction in this last election, 2 I'll say quickly. One was the Democrats would have won if they got away with convincing Americans to believe what the Democrats told them was real and true and authentic, rather than what they saw with their own eyes and heard with their own ears, what was real and true and authentic. Everything from a sitting president's obvious mental and physical lack of acuity, agility, ability, but even the vice president, whose official schedule that they stopped publishing a while ago had little to nothing on it most weekends and then most days. So you can't just, you can't create a candidate out of somebody who is going to eat and own all of these things. The second thing I want to say is, very quickly, I listened for 26 minutes, very quickly, is that putting Harris on the ticket, I think also sealed Biden's fate, and him thinking that he was FDR, hanging out with John Meacham, and instead of realizing you're here to be the post-COVID caretaker, you're here after George Floyd's murder. The idea that he was going to govern as Bernie Sanders, who had already been pushed out of the party as somebody who beat Hillary Clinton, folks, in 23 contests. That's a real primary opponent. And this is the election where Americans are saying, no more. You are not going to pigeonhole and narrowcast me and tell me what to think, for whom to vote, and how to feel based on my age, my gender, my race, my sexual orientation, my religion, my political party registration, my past voting behavior. And whether it's Ann Seltzer's phony poll or phony focus groups of junk saying that Kamala Harris is going to win, attacking people like Kevin McCarthy, thank you so much for having the courage in 2022, you and President Trump, and the RNC, to have run these candidates in California and New York, because without that, we would not have had the majority in the House of Representatives. You had the courage to go into blue states and go into purple districts and do that. I think they misread the mandate, Maggie, in 2022 of the midterm. A lot of those terrible candidates fell short. They should have. They weren't great candidates. But the Republicans won 3 million more of the popular vote than the Democrats. They misread a mandate for Joe Biden, who wasn't even invited on the campaign trail. They sent out Barack Obama, not Joe Biden, to campaign for candidates. So
That's true.
You've got it. We have to level set with the public and stop pretending that these counties didn't flip and
Let her cook. I mean, I don't agree with some of this stuff. She's a neoconish, establishment, old school, but let her cook.
And last point, every state.
How many last points you gonna do?
I got this. Well, they're all good ones.
They are great.
I'm not here spinning. They're really great
They are
points, and I'm not here spinning and pretending that this election. A lot of this conversation, respectfully, sounds like the election didn't happen yet. We've talked about the same stuff over and over again. The fact is this: I said it a year ago. I'll say it again because it was just raised. The Democratic Party right now, every day they wake up, it's still January 6, 2021 on the calendar. They get an electric vehicle. They get an abortion. You're out of touch with the public. This election was a rejection of wokeness, and every state went more red except Nebraska and Washington State. That is a sweep. That is a mandate. That is President Trump coming into office and the American people saying, please make my life safer, more secure, more affordable. Please get us out of these foreign engagements. And I think the always wrong, never Trumpers who had unlimited money cost the Democratic Party, which they say they're not even a member, another presidential election.
Ooh, that last couple minutes of that rant was after she stopped talking, after she stopped glazing Kevin McCarthy, of all people. That rant was pretty good in the last 10 or 2 minutes. Let me know what you think about the legacy media and the aftermath, the carnage of the election.